Hey, everybody, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. I am so excited for today's conversation with Bitten Jonnson. Bitten, I recently saw you on Ben Azadi's program. I love that
Yeah.
guy. I got to hug his neck recently at Meat Stock, and I watched your interview, and I loved it so much that I passed on some of the key points to my group members, and they loved it. And I thought, man, I wish I had done that interview. So I wanted to add some follow-up questions and so many points that I heard you say that I thought we just have to make sure that everybody on this channel hears it. So thank you for coming on today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm
So,
honored.
well,
Thank you.
thank you. So I looked, you've been in the field of addiction and more specifically sugar addiction for over 30 years. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
incredible.
32. It's going to be
Oh,
32, and I've been in the addiction field for 40.
wow. Okay. So even before you
Okay.
really narrowed it down more specifically.
Well, I ended up in treatment for my alcoholism, which was shocking to me. I mean, being a nurse and thinking I was, being so goody.
Yes.
How could I be an alcoholic? But I ended up there because I had a husband that understood the signs, although, it wasn't very obvious to other people.
Yes.
So, and that's when I learned about addiction medicine, and I learned about the reward system and the brain. And I was very upset because nobody taught me this. And in Sweden, they don't think addiction is an illness.
Mm.
So I started studying already during my treatment. I went to the University of Irvine and started following the researchers that was doing the pioneer research on dopamine system.
Okay.
Today we know there's many more neurotransmitters involved, but that was the start. And I was baffled and I was intrigued. And after that, I've had a passion for addiction. So that's when I quit drinking. So it's almost going to be 40 years this September. And then at that time, I smoked.
Okay.
And I knew nothing about food. Can you imagine being a nurse and having no training in food? I was very grateful growing up in a family where my mom cooked everything from scratch. So I grew up on real food.
Okay.
No junk. We were hardly ever allowed to have any sweets or junk or, very rarely.
Yes.
So anyway, I ate normal food. But then as a teenager, I started eating like all my friends.
Mm.
And that was, of course, candy and ice cream and chocolate and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So that's what I was eating. And then in nursing school, we decided to start smoking because we heard the big girls saying that you suppressed appetite with nicotine and smoking, which was, of course, a disaster
Right.
because most of us got hooked. And then, so I was smoking and I could eat bacon one day and ice cream the next. I mean, I had no idea. I just lost all my, when I was living alone and working, I was just eating what was in front of me. I didn't cook like my mom did. Drinking, smoking, and eating sugar, mostly chocolate and ice cream. So anyway, quit smoking, quit drinking. And then after 7 years in recovery, I thought I'm going to be even more healthy. I'm going to quit smoking. And I did. And that's when I discovered sugar addiction
Mm.
because, thinking, oh, I'm so good taking away the nicotine so I can have some ice cream tonight.
Yeah.
And, some ice cream was more ice cream and more ice cream and more chocolate. Oh, you know the name of the game. Because sugar is in the way that the more you eat, the more you're going to eat
Yeah.
because it causes horrible cravings. So after quitting smoking, I gained a lot of weight, 20 kilos, but that wasn't really the worst at that time. The worst was my incredible fatigue. I used to be very speedy and sharp, and I was working full time, and I was very active. I had dogs, and I was biking and doing all kinds of things. And I was so tired. I almost killed myself in the car twice
Mm.
because I slept 14 hours. But the blood sugar swing tiredness.
Yes.
You try to have your eyes wide open and you try to pressure yourself, but you go, oh my
Yeah.
God. Boom. It is a horrible tiredness
It is.
because your brain turns off, because your brain don't like volatile blood sugar, the swing between very high, very low, very high, very low.
Yes.
And at that time, I knew nothing about insulin, and I didn't understand the power of the reptilian brain. So I was fighting it tooth and nail and said every morning, tonight I'm not going to eat any junk tonight. No, no. And every evening, the craving was so immense that, I ran to the store and I bought more and more amounts because, the stupid thinking we have, if I eat enough so I get sick, I don't want it tomorrow. Woo, woo, woo.
Ha ha. Right.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, so that's the way I was living for several months. And then I was working with this American lady, and I told her, I said, what's wrong with me? I could quit alcohol, I could quit smoking, but I can't quit chocolate and ice cream. And this was 1991 or something. And she looked at me and she said, you might be a food addict. I had never heard that terminology ever. So I looked at her like she came from March or something. Food addict? You can't be addicted to food. That was my comment.
Mm.
And of course, I didn't distinguish between the sugary, like the ice cream and the chocolate and all that, and real food. It was one group to me.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, she said, I know of a training in Chicago, and I've done my training and I did my treatment in the US because I lived there. And I knew that US knew the best, they were the best in addiction medicine in the whole world. So I thought, well, I go over there. And I met this woman that started working with food addiction as an addiction. She was the pioneer. Her name was Jo Nebbit. And then her dietitian, Patricia Devlin. And they were beautiful with me. And I picked their brain, for days, and wanting to learn everything for my own sake and to help others. But I didn't think planning to start working with others. But when I came home, people said, oh, you look chirpy. You look well. What have you done? And I said, well, I'm a food addict and I'm taking care of that now. And here in Sweden, people started laughing. Food addict. Ooh. Is that something that is modern to say in US? People had no clue to what I was talking about. But anyway, people started calling me and said, I'm a foodaholic. That's a terminology they used at those years. I'm an overeater. I'm a binge eater. I can't stop eating certain food. And then I started asking people, okay, do you have a problem with food? And everybody said to me, no, not really, not food, but with sugar and carbs. So at that time, I decided, as you can see in the huge field I'm in, many people talk about food addiction. I don't. I talk about sugar and carb addiction because I'm trained in understanding a psychoactive substance on your brain. To say food addiction to me, it's like saying liquid addiction about alcoholism.
Yes.
Well, what liquid? Water?
Yes.
No, water is not a problem. And so on. You get my point?
Yes.
And now it is, so many people have fallen in the trap of talking only about ultra processed food.
Right.
And I compare that to, that would be me working with alcoholics. And then I would say, vodka is bad, but beer is okay.
Right. Imagine.
So, and I think that those people don't understand the addicted brain and addiction medicine and, all the physical problems that goes on in the brain. And you have to know a lot about the research about process addictions, like gambling, sex, because the dieting on, off is a process addiction. It is a secondary outlet addiction caused by the sugar and carb addiction. The addiction comes first when you're very, very young, the addictive symptoms. Then comes the dieting when you're a teenager.
Yes.
Then comes the restricting. Then comes the binging and purging and then volume eating. It's a process that people go through. Can you relate that to
You
yourself?
just told my entire life story right
I
there.
know, I
Yes,
know.
it was
So,
exactly like that.
yeah, and I've spoken, I mean, I work with thousands of clients and I interview them and I do the assessment on them. And they said, how do you know this? And they said, are you reading my mind? And I said, no, I know my research and I know the process. So you have to both understand psychoactive substance addiction and process addiction.
I love what you said about food addiction versus sugar addiction. I've never met somebody who is addicted to steak,
No,
addicted
but I've
to,
met people that think they are,
well, I mean, what
but
if,
they are volume eaters.
yes. And I
Yes,
have had to struggle with volume addiction myself.
of
And
course.
that's taken years. On the
Yes.
plus side, what I was volume eating was
Yeah.
healthy, good food. So my physical body was able to
Yes.
recover, even though
Yes.
mentally I was craving the dopamine of that stomach stretch. Just,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And also, you're overloading your metabolic system when you overeat, even if you overeat butter or steak or whatever, good food. So it's not good at all. But, then we develop tools to handle that. So, because once the problem is that once your body is totally destroyed in the satiety chain, vagus nerve, reward system, reptilian brain, pancreas, once that whole delicate system is out of whack,
Mm.
you're going to have a lot of symptoms, but they are related to the start with sugar carb addiction. So you have to start there.
Let's talk about the folks who are right now going volume addiction. I think
Yeah,
that might be me. So I
yeah,
do work with a lot of carnivores who are under eaters
yes,
because they only recognize their hunger signals when it was carbs. They said I couldn't stop eating when it was carbs and sugar. Now, if you tell me all I'm eating is meat, suddenly they don't eat hardly anything. They say, I don't know, I'm not very hungry. But I do work with people who are more like myself because I love to eat and they could overeat anything.
I
And
know. That's very common. And that's why usually the best thing is to work with a professional helping you with the food plan to are you a restrictor? Then you have to maybe weigh and measure so that you get enough nourishment for your brain and your body. Otherwise, you're going to risk a huge relapse later because
right.
your body is stronger than you. So it's going to, protest one day and say, the heck with this, eat everything
Yeah.
because you're starving. Okay. It's not that obvious in your brain, but, the feeling will be that. And you think you're a bad person because you couldn't stick to it. You're not. This is physical. Then, on the other hand, the volume eaters, usually they have a very, very broken oxytocin system.
Mm.
And the oxytocin in your stomach, when you eat carbs, doesn't send a satiety signal. So that's why you can eat, eat, neat. So then the signal has been shut down. It's like, the cord is off.
You're right.
So that's why you can eat, neat, anything.
Mm.
And even if you switch food, you have to repair the cord,
Okay.
the satiety cord. You have to work on understanding oxytocin for satiety. You have to work on increasing oxytocin to lower this urge craving to overeat because overeating causes damage on the other spectra. So
Mm.
those people also need to weigh and measure according to their body and so forth for a while so that you give the body the chance to heal these systems. Then you have one of the worst culprits ever. First of all, some people they get neurotransmitter reward from starving. Did you know that?
Well, I have heard some people in the fasting community talk about
Yeah.
the high that
Yes.
they get from
Yes.
fasting.
Yeah. And that's an outlet. That's a dangerous way to go because that will also put you up for relapse because that's not going to last. So if you keep starving, you are high, less high, less high. And one day you're not high from that anymore. And then you're going to turn to something else. You see, that's the way addiction works. You have to understand addiction, what we call the red dog, which is cunning, baffling, powerful, and very patient. It's going to seek another way. It's going to fool you and find something else. You think, well, I could have a glass of wine. Sure, babe. Boom, it's going to explode. Okay. And then, you have on the other side, you have the volume eaters that are overtaxing their system. So what's going to happen, they get oxytocin release huge amounts when they have an extended stomach, when they eat. Most people think if I change the food, everything's going to be fine. Far from it. You have to work a tremendous amount of behavioral changes to repair all these systems. The need to be high from starving, the need to get oxytocin released. You have to find other tools to get those effects that is not connected to food.
Right. Let's talk. I had not really planned on just focusing so much on the volume eaters, but in recent interviews,
a big problem.
In recent interviews, I've talked so much about the undereaters, how to get them to slowly reverse diet and teaching them how to measure the food to make sure they're getting enough. So I feel like I've kind of talked to those guys lately a lot. Let's sort of focus on the volume piece and on this oxytocin release. Let's do a little bit of a deep dive on some specific takeaways that you would recommend for that person who is already, I think, most people watching this channel are no longer eating sugar and carbs. This is a really carnivore
I love it. I love it. Congratulations to all of you out there.
Absolutely.
Good start. It's a good start. But for many, it's not enough.
What next?
Okay, so oxytocin, together with carbon dioxide, one of the things you breathe out when you exhale, is the body's largest natural relaxation system.
Okay.
So one of the things people need to start working on is breathing. A lot of people overbreathe. Most people overbreathe. They breathe fast and shallow up here. You know about that?
Yes.
And that means that oxygen and carbon dioxide go in and out so fast that the body cannot take it into the blood. Okay. And carbon dioxide is not a poison, which we have been taught, which is stupid. It's relaxing the blood vessels so that you can both take up more oxygen and get the benefits of that, which makes clarity, and your body cannot burn fat without oxygen. So it makes you relaxed. And another big important factor is that carbon dioxide is healing, in the body too. So it has many, many effects. So it's very important to understand these things. So it's part of the detox system. Correct breathing stands for 60% of the whole natural detox process. That there is things go on in your cells, thousands of processes in every cell, every minute, day and night, right?
Right.
That's normal, yeah. So that creates toxins, and that needs to, or waste products is a better word. It's not really toxins. The way to release that is through proper breathing. Okay. Sweating is only 30%. And people are obsessed with going to the sauna instead of breathing.
Right.
And doing number 2 is only 10%.
Oh.
Of natural detox systems. You need to learn to breathe proper through your nose, and you need to exhale twice as long as inhale.
Okay.
And we use this little tool. It's called the relaxator. It's a resistance in here, a membrane. which, I advise all my clients to use 5 minutes in the morning when they wake up, 5 minutes in the evening, and when they are on the computer or if they drive the car and I'm going to do a little test and people can follow me now.
Okay.
I ask you to do this. Look straight forward. Don't move your head. Only listen to what I say and move your eyes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Look at your right. Look at your left. Look up. Look down. Look up. Look to your left. Look to your right. Look down. Good. How many deep, good breaths did you take?
I don't think I took any. I was so focused. Yeah.
That's right. And this is, we talk about sleep apnea, when you have, yeah, you know what that is. But so many of us have stress apnea. You open your computer, 30 mails go boom, you go,
Yeah.
you're on the phone with an important call and the dog barks and wants to go out.
Yep.
Somebody's at the door, in traffic. We all encounter stress every day. It can be big things, small things. But anyway, most of us hold our breath when we're stressed. And that causes, of course, that we think less. Our brain is having a harder time to process things. Our metabolism slows down. Our blood vessels constrict. We don't get the benefits of the oxygen. So that's why it's so good when you're at home in a calm environment, practice nose breathing, not through your mouth, only through your nose. And, I'm going to give you a site which you can share with your followers, consciousbreathing.com, where you can read a lot of research about carbon dioxide and, get the tools and science and everything you need to know about this. I learned about this 2013 and I use it all the time. And then many snore or have sleep apnea. So what we do, we tape our mouth at night.
Oh, baby, I am such a fan of mouth taping.
Good. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you must be a fan of the relaxator and nose breathing too.
Okay.
I promise you, they go hand in hand.
Okay.
And, you can read about that on this page too. So change the food. Take away the junk. Number 2, start working on your breathing so your body will function properly. Okay, so that's the thing. Work on your sleep. Okay. Improve your sleep. Don't think, oh, I'm sleeping so bad or I must sleep better. That causes stress.
Right.
See, can I improve it in some ways? Okay. I always like, Anders, the breathing teacher, he always say, if things is really bad, you have more to improve. Isn't that good?
I like that. Yeah.
And then physical activity.
Okay.
And, I am a lover of forest bathing. The Japanese methods, forest bathing.
Yes.
So to walk, and if you can, barefoot on the grass for a while and walk for a while in nature is much better than going to the gym. I'm not against gym. You can go to the gym too, of course. But as a healing,
Yes.
nature is incredible stress reliever. It has, I could talk for hours about important. I know that if you listen to birdsong, your mood will lift for about 30 minutes after that. So there are so many benefits, and I'm a fond pet lover. I have a dog, I love dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a dog?
2 of them, yes.
I think they are the best 4-legged therapists ever.
Yes.
So
You mentioned, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. This just about an hour ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, Juliana, about birdsong. And she was saying that she has started falling asleep at night. There's music, but there's also birds. And she said, I read that birds don't sing when there's any danger around. And
Right.
that humans interpret bird song, something within us knows it's safe.
Yeah.
The birds are
Yeah,
singing.
there is a lot of research on it. It's beautiful. The same with, nature's effect on our bodies and our mental health. Okay.
Yeah.
Start giving your body the love it deserves after abusing it for years and forcing it to starve or overeat or eat weird things or stress about your weight. And of course, weight loss is very important if you're overweight because it's very unhealthy to be overweight. It's an incredible stress on the body. So I'm fully for that. But in my experience with addicts, we have to start with addiction and heal the brain first. And then we go to the weight loss programs. Because if you start with pushing down the weight and you don't understand the sinister red dog, the enemy, the little addict devil in your brain, you're going to keep relapsing. And you're going to be what I call a looper. You lose weight, you feel better, and you relapse. And you go back on the program, you feel lousy, you think you're a bad person. You're not. It's not your fault that you have this illness. So, and then you go back on and you feel better again and you crash. And we want to avoid that because it's such an incredible trauma for the body to be on, off, on, off, on, off.
Yeah.
Because, you have reptilian brain. When your reward system starts kicking in on the neurotransmitters and you want to have the drug, your reptilian brain, fight, flight, freeze, food, sex. That's reptilian brain's only function, survival. Okay? And it is ready wired from when you're born. So it doesn't need to be wired. It's already there. And if anything perceives as a threat or a stress in us, the reptilian brain gonna say, "Hi, I'm here. I'm the army. I can kill for you." Woo, woo, woo. And suddenly, it's fight, flight, freeze, food, or sex. And of course, in our case, with early exposure to the drug when we are children, babies almost, it is the food. So if we were to look in the reptilian brain, fight, flight, freeze would be pretty small, sex not so big, food big.
Oh, you're saying sex.
Sex?
I thought you were saying the number six. I was like,
No,
what
no.
is number? Oh, I
No,
got
but
you.
it is survival. It is the
Yes.
instinct. We are made to reproduce. We're made to
Yes.
eat.
Right.
So that's why it can turn into, sex addiction if you're not cautious.
Right.
Or you could be always avoiding everything, running away, playing dead, being horribly stressed. But for us, sugar and carb addicts,
Right.
the food area is huge.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen once you're a sugar addict, and this reward system is kicking in, the food instinct in the reptilian brain going to scream bloody murder. You don't hear it as words, but it's going to say, eat or you die, eat or you die. And now you have a craving from hell. I
Yeah.
mean, I used to joke and say to people, put me in a straitjacket. That's how bad my craving was.
Yes.
And because the signal is not so strong, and it's not my fault, I didn't cause it.
Mm.
It's a consequence of this biochemical brokenness. Okay, now you have a third player in here, and this is what I wrote to you about, that we need to understand the horrible, dangerous triad. Reward system, neurotransmitters, reptilian brain, which is taking over all the other parts of the brain, and scream, And then you have the pancreas. So now, because we're eating so much sugar and carbs, the pancreas is in overdrive. So what does it do? Well, it's going to squirt out insulin. And because sugar molecules are toxic in our bloodstreams. So the brain is saying when there's a lot of sugar in our body, ooh, get the insulin out on the floor, because we've got to lower the sugar. Otherwise, you get damaged. So now you have a huge insulin level. And then what's going to happen to the blood sugar? Well, it's going to dump.
Yes.
What do you experience then?
Uh,
Oh, you feel miserable.
yeah.
Anything from irritation to panic, anxiety. There is hundreds of symptoms in between. I usually send my clients a long list on volatile blood sugar so they can learn about it. Okay, so now, we get the craving again. So now you have three systems screaming. And so that's why it's so important. Once you do the biochemical repair, you start helping your body to trust that you get the right nourishment, calming down the environment, the inner stress. But now you have to work on calming down the other systems. So, if you don't do that, they're going to run amok. They're going to woohoo, take over. And there you go and start doing some other crazy things. Screens, gambling, God knows what. And that's why we have to understand addiction, that it's not only addiction to sugar carbs, it's addiction interaction disorder. One illness, many outlets. So that's why you have to work very, very much on rewiring the whole brain. I used to joke and say it's like, the reptilian brain is like if you think about a beautiful house with electricity cords to all the rooms, but it's only in the hallway that the chandelier is burning, it's light there. That's your reptilian brain, always on the lookout. Woo-hoo. Yeah. And, all the electricity to the neocortex, where your common sense is, when empathy and love and all that is, and to your prefrontal cortex, your limbic system, there is very little electricity to those areas. So that's what you need to work on, rewiring, getting power into all areas so that they take over the reptilian brain. Otherwise, you can't teach a reptile go heal.
Right. It's always going to be a lizard. In my groups, this is how we represent what you're calling reptilian brain. We call it the lizard brain.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
yeah. The
one
same
thing
thing.
I love is when you talked about, I've heard you say, it's very important to recognize this addiction is not me.
No,
When we
no.
talk about deprivation, people say, okay, I just have to get better at depriving myself. No, we have to get better at
No.
depriving him, the addiction.
Well, I see it as a dog trainer. You know about dogs. I see it as domesticating an aggressive dog.
I like
How do
that.
you do that? Well, look at Cesar Millan. The way he works with aggressive dogs. Calm and assertive, calm and assertive. He never raises his voice. He has a presence. So the dog don't attack him. He looks at him like, oh my God, who are you?
Yeah.
But you are sending out those signals, that I'm in charge. It's calm. I'm taking care of the situation. You can go to bed. Stay in your basket and be quiet. Don't bark. So you could joke and say too that we domesticate our red dog. And of course, we have to heal the reward system. And we need to lower the amount of insulin from pancreas so that our blood sugar becomes stable. So there are several things. There are actually a fourth player. Well, there are many. The whole body is connected to everything, right? And that's the stomach and the microbiome. So many people have a broken microbiome. So of course, we heal that with carnivore. I don't know any better way than to heal your microbiome with carnivore. So, but you could have stomach problems for quite some time because the intestine was so broken. Your villi in your intestine were maybe shut down, so you don't break down and take up nourishment.
I love that carnivore is so effective in some of these things, like for the pancreas, starting
Yes,
to get that insulin
yes,
down. What could be better?
nothing,
Nothing,
nothing.
nothing. And of course, like you say, for the gut biome, I love, okay, some actionable steps so far. If you know you're either under eating or overeating, tracking, just simply learning what is appropriate, looking at maybe
Yes.
a TDEE, a total daily energy expenditure, to figure out what would be appropriate for someone.
Yes.
My
Yeah. And
activity.
if you feel all confused about that and scared, ask a pro.
Yes.
Start somewhere.
Yes.
Don't dabble yourself, because the red dog, that monster, is going to try to trick you
Right.
all the time. And it is very smiley and smirky and whispering and blah, blah, blah. But it's going to fool you. All it wants is for you to pick up the drug.
Right.
And so you, deep inside, that you want a back door to the drug. Maybe one day I can have these things today again. That's not the healthy you thinking that.
Right.
It is the red dog planting that in your brain. Remember that. So, we use a lot of tools with the red dogs. Like, one of my favorite is to tell on the red dog. Like, if you and I were working together, and then you were my support person or buddy in this program. And one day I feel that my red dog is starting to whisper, "Well, you've been such a good girl. Shouldn't we have some chocolate?" And, I'm on my alert right away. Whoop! And I pick up the phone. Kelly, let me tell you what my red dog is telling me.
Yeah.
And you and I can laugh at that. And that takes the power out of it.
I love that.
But if I go and hide it and say, no, I have to fix this myself. I have to suppress this feeling and this thought. I promise you one thing, it's going to grow. It's going to come back stronger tomorrow or the next day, and it's going to hit you over the head. So gossiping or telling on the red dog is incredibly powerful. If I couldn't call you, another one of my favorite tools is to think like that. Okay, I hear that you're visiting and you have a suggestion for me, I'm saying to my red dog. But you know what? We don't have time for that today. Come back tomorrow.
So we're saying to these addictive voices, the whispers of addiction.
Yes.
Not today. You can try.
Not today. Sorry, pal. No time for that today. Come back tomorrow. But tomorrow it could be over for weeks.
Yeah.
It's only now. So, you just brush it off like that and said, nope. Or the third trick I have used through all these years is to say, well, I made a commitment this morning. No matter what's going to happen today, I'm not going to eat junk. So that's what I made a promise to myself. And if you and I were to go to a movie or something or go out for dinner, and we had promised each other, on Thursday evening we meet for dinner, it would take a heck of a lot before I canceled what I promised you, a friend. But if I promise myself something, I can break that all the time.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? So now I have to make myself my best friend. If I promise myself, not today, it is, in stone.
Yeah.
Not today. So I have to treat myself like that. And, and also I need support. Support groups is incredible. You can cry together, you can laugh together. That's where you can acknowledge the power of the monster and see it as the enemy it is. It is a little enemy inside of you. It's not you.
That's right.
You didn't create it.
No.
You did not do it. You didn't, make up what it's going to do. It has its own life. As soon as addiction is in place, that thing grows. So how do you domesticate or shrink it? That's what every day is about.
When it comes to community, I heard you say that when two people or more get together and talk about their shared experiences in how we beat this thing, how we're dealing today, how he's been whispering today, but how we're dealing with it, that it ignites our prefrontal cortex, our decision-making part of the brain, and also the reward center of the brain. It feels so good, like this conversation.
And the neocortex. Yeah. And oxytocin.
Yeah.
Because that is togetherness, bonding.
Yes.
Oxytocin has so many important functions in our body. You wouldn't believe it. Calmness, anti-inflammation, bonding together, sharing together, So it kickstarts all of these things. Intelligence, empathy, love, passion. So that little thing is actually very tiny, but very fierce and very strong. But, it can be bashed down. But we have to be aware of it. So another practice I give to my clients is that take a piece of paper, fold it in two or whatever. And, handwriting is incredibly good practice for your brain. You know that. I see you doing that. Love it, love it. Oh, and crocheting or knitting or growing roses. And, handcrafts, handwork. Start writing because we don't always know. Is that a red dog thought? Is that a blue dog? Blue dog is your healthy part.
Okay.
Is that a blue dog? It's because red dog loves to confuse you, right? So you write it down and you call each other. You call a friend and said, "What do you think this is?" Oh, they can usually see it easier. They say, "Oh my God, that's a red dog thought." Okay, so now next step. How do you convert that to a blue dog thought? And another thing that's important to help us is that so many people are so brainwashed, I almost said, well, I said it, to talk feelings, 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 feelings. Dangerous. Then you have slipped one step down. A feeling is always created by thought. So whenever you have feelings, you have to step up and think, okay, what do I think that causes that feeling? Because it's much easier to start working on the thought process than working on the feeling process. Because it is thoughts, feelings, urges, actions. So you have to understand that chain, that it starts with the thoughts, and make sure you become aware of what you're thinking. Then you can start dealing with your feelings in a much better way.
When you said that we could take a red dog thought and turn it to blue,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get some clarity there. Maybe this is what you're saying. Sometimes my lizard brain,
Yeah.
red dog, will say something like, "You've had such a hard day. You deserve a reward." And
Yes.
I have a script. I have a handbook that I give in my groups, and there's scripts for all of the different things, pages that I have heard my addiction brain say to
Good.
me. And
Yeah.
when I hear it say, "You've had a hard day, you deserve a reward," when you say turn that to a blue thought, would that be like saying, "You know what? It has been a hard day. That is true. I do deserve a reward, something that's going to actually make me feel good." And then what would that truly be? Because this food is not going to make me feel good in the end. I've
That's
experienced.
exactly what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
My reward tonight will be a bath, listening to good music, call a friend, tend to my roses, cuddle my dog, blah, 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 whatever,
Got
whatever.
it.
Yes, you turn that dangerous red dog thought, feeling, urge, impulsive behavior and action, running out and buying something or whatever. You turn it into solution focused things, And if you go blank, "I don't know what I'm going to do that's good," you call a friend in the program and said, "What would you suggest?" And I promise you, they come up with 5 things before you even breathe.
Right.
Because that's the way we work. We can get a blank. "Oh my God, I don't know anything. No, that's not fun. No, no." And then we just say, "Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yes.
Take a bath and then call me."
Well, when this lizard is screaming, our prefrontal cortex just like, you can't come up with these.
No, but that's what I'm saying about the chandelier. When the lizard brain hogs all the electricity, there's not enough power to the other parts.
Yeah. And that's when somebody else can step in because their prefrontal cortex is working in this moment.
Not in that lizard moment,
Yeah.
right? So they come up with things much easier than you do.
Oh, this is so good. Okay, I've been writing down. I love things that people can just take with them. And we're going to go back and review those. But All right, things that I heard you say with Ben Azadi that we can't get totally into, but I'm going to just sort of briefly go through because it was from you. And if they want to hear more, that interview was fantastic. The power of ketones when it comes to breaking any addiction.
Correct, correct. That's the brain's and the body's favorite fuel.
Mm. And I do see people who get into ketosis, they cut out the junk so their blood sugar can come down, and suddenly carnivores frequently say, I don't need the alcohol anymore. Like that's not why they started carnivore, but they just feel like now they don't crave the
Now, if you're
alcohol.
an addict, if you know you're diagnosed, if you know you're an addict, you should never touch alcohol again. Sorry,
Yeah.
under no circumstances.
Yes.
Don't let people that think like that fool you.
Yeah. I agree.
Because
I can't touch it.
no, because that's going to kickstart your reward system and that's going to wake the red dog up and off you go. It might take 3 days after you had a glass of wine or whatever, or 4 days after you think, oh, I didn't become very sick of one glass of wine. I can have two now. Red dog is smirking. Say, oh, yeah, I almost got her.
Oh, it's so me. I know I'm married to a moderator. He
Oh, aren't they horrible,
Oh, they're
boring?
the worst, Bitten. They're just the worst. When he was in college, he could go have a cigar or a cigarette, never touch it again till the next party in 6 months. He
Of
can have a
course.
drink here or there. He can have a
Yes.
dessert here or there. None of it. I am the
Yeah.
total
They don't
opposite.
even finish the dessert.
Yep.
They don't. You go to a restaurant with them. The lady that wrote the book with me, if we had dessert, she would eat a third of hers and said, "Oh, this is so rich. I'm fine." And I had gobbled mine up, and I was thinking, can I go into the kitchen and see the chef's bowl?
Yeah. What are you going to do with yours? Come on. We need back. Yeah.
Yeah. And people don't want to understand or accept that we do have different biochemistry. That's what irks me most after all these years.
Right.
Don't you dare compare me to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
That's what I say to people. Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned walking, which is a very actionable step, but I have referred for probably the last 2 years to the LSD, the long slow
Yeah.
distances because of you. It is such a powerful tool. Could you just speak
It
on
is.
that for a minute?
First time you hear that, you think, LSD, that's a drug. Are you nuts? But it stands for long, slow distance. And, when your body is in imbalance biochemically after, eating junk food or stressing or everything crazy we have done. So when we're going to start healing, it's very important that we wake our body up slowly. So it's much better to walk normal or slow for 40 minutes than power walking for 10.
Okay.
You can do that later. We have abused our bodies physically, psychologically, socially, and mentally, spiritually. We have told ourselves how bad we are, that we can't do this or do that we're ugly, we're fat, or we are too skinny, or we are too much this and that. We've always beaten on our body. And, now is the time to become friends with your body. So one of the practices I do is have people do every day. It only takes a few minutes, is that you look at yourself in the mirror, or you can look at your hands and say, these hands can pet the dog. These hands can hug you. These hands can write. They can paint. My buttocks is perfect to sit on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. My legs are wonderful to walk with. And you can come up with so many things,
Yes.
About your body, but you go from looks to function.
Oh.
You look at yourself all the times, well, I don't like my nose. This nose is wonderful to smell roses with. And to smell my baby or my dog, or you have to come up with these things. But if you do a few of these, only a few of these every evening, you're going to start looking at your body in a different way and stop being so totally obsessed with how it looks and what you weigh, which is Red Dog's favorite thing to obsess about, because Red Dog knows if I harp about the weight and how you look, you're going to relapse.
Mm. Oh, that's a powerful thought.
And I'm never going to be free if I don't free myself from the looks.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
sometimes give my chest a hard time when I'm looking in the mirror, but you're right. I nursed
You
my
love it.
babies.
You're going to love it from now on.
Yes, for 5 years. I fed my favorite little humans. What a
Right?
gift, you good girls. Yes.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly. And put some nice lotion on.
Yes.
Give them a good rub. Be kind, be loving. Whatever spots, if you have, some parts on your arms or legs that you don't like, put some good lotion on
Mm.
or something that smells good and feel how your hands are loving that part.
Yeah.
Function, function.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if you do this in 90 every day, one little thing of these every day, in 90 days, you're going to have a totally different outlook.
That's
Totally
very
different.
good. I love that. Right. I've heard you say instead of, and you alluded to this a little bit today, even when you're talking to an addict, you can't talk about forever or long amounts of
Oh,
time.
no,
We're going to be
no, no.
clean. We're going to be clean forever. And I actually think that is a voice of Red Dog because it
It
knows.
is, it is, it is.
Yeah.
It loves saying that because you're going to relapse sooner or later if you do that.
Mm.
Nobody knows anything forever.
And you
Nobody.
can't commit to forever. And he knows that. So it's like, you'll never touch sugar again. And then at some point, you have a little something and it's like, oh, you blew it now. Now it's over.
Yeah, right. And you're a failure. You
Right.
might as well eat.
Yep.
Oh,
It's all
yeah.
over. Instead of, I heard you say, if you're at the point where you can commit to lunch today, right?
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
commit
Break
to
it
lunch.
down.
But
Break
then
it
the
down.
three words you said was no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? No matter
I,
what.
I love those words. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I talked about the commitment,
Yes.
making a commitment to myself.
Hmm.
That, first thing in the morning, I make a commitment to myself. And now, after all these years, I said, no matter what happens today, I'm not going to eat junk, or I'm
Yes.
going to stick to my food plan,
Right.
or I'm going to eat carnivore, or whichever word I want to use,
Yeah.
differs a little bit. But, so that is, just the highway.
Yeah.
So I've made that commitment. Like if I would promise you something or my family or whomever,
Yeah.
I have made a commitment. I don't
Yeah.
break that.
I have some group members that commit to the month. That's where they are. They make commitments for the month, whether it's well, we all start with the food piece. But
Yeah.
then some will commit also to walking after dinner. They can say for 30 days, but then some of them are so new and fresh in the addiction that they will
Mhm.
show up every morning to post on our group to say, today I will not eat. And they report back every night because they don't trust the promise to themselves just yet. It helps to make it public, to come and
Of,
speak it.
of course, that's how
Yeah.
we do it in the beginning. That's, why we have a support person that
Yeah.
we talk to and say, no matter what happens today, I'm going to stick to my food plan today.
Today. I
To
love
tell
it.
somebody that. And one of the most powerful tools is a support person that has the same problem as you, that knows what it means, that knows the incredible trickiness Red Dog has, that can listen between the lines and said, hey, Kelly, are you on your way to the drug right now? That sounds dangerous. Why
Yeah.
are you going to that cafe alone? They could
Yes.
question you, they could ask you hard questions and you can wake up and say, oh, yeah, you're right. Why am I doing that? Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I want to talk about. I frequently get asked this question. Well, what about sweeteners? What about natural sweeteners? What if it's monk fruit? What if it's sweet, sweet, sweet? And
Yeah.
I have heard what you said, which aligns with my experience as a former/recovered
Mm.
addict.
Mm.
For me, it is an absolute hard pass. No, I will not use a flavored electrolyte. I will not touch a sugar-free gum. Like, I can't go near sweet taste because it was such a trigger for me.
Gonna trigger, yes. Okay, yeah. I know that some people, colleagues of mine, use it as a stepping stone
Yeah.
for some people. I've heard that. And, there are so many thoughts and ideas around this. But if you want to play it safe,
Mhm.
you stay away
Yeah.
because the sweet taste will keep your red dog alive,
Yeah. That's
your sweet tooth. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm going to give you another thing that people ask me all the time. And I said, what shall I eat instead? And then I say, what do you mean instead? I
Mhm.
play dumb. I play
Mhm.
dumb. And then it comes, instead of bread, instead of candy, instead of, and I say, nothing.
Mhm.
And I don't say anymore. In the beginning, if your blood sugar is going, playing roller coaster, I advise that you have an egg, a hard boiled egg with some good butter on.
Oh,
Because that blood sugar craving will fade away
yes.
once you're stable, because your body is not going to trust you in the beginning. So it can play havoc with you.
Yeah.
And stress can cause you to crave, and old memories, and it could be a lot of triggers. So if you need something to balance between, breakfast and lunch is usually not a problem for most people, but lunch and dinner or evening, well, have a piece of protein with butter or fat, and that's going to calm it right down.
And if you're willing, I tell people if you say you're hungry, but you
Yeah.
don't want an egg, you don't want butter, you don't want half a burger patty, you don't, you're not hungry.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
And you do have a sugar craving.
yes.
It's the red dog trying to fool you to go into the kitchen or to the store.
Hmm.
Yes, yes.
But
But
if it
if
is an
you
actual
eat,
blood sugar thing, if it is an actual blood sugar thing, I love that. It's if you're willing to eat the hard-boiled egg or the piece of meat,
yeah,
you might
yeah. Or just
actually,
a spoon. I can
yeah,
sometimes, I've sometimes had only a spoon of butter
perfect.
or
Yeah,
ghee.
me too.
But yeah, but that's true. But that's why I'm teaching people volatile blood sugar so they can
Mm.
keep track of the symptoms before they are suicidal, which is the
Yes.
last symptoms.
Yeah.
So that you are aware that irritation, sweating, there are mild symptoms in the beginning,
Mm.
and then they get worse.
The
So
sleepiness, the
yeah, the
yeah,
tiredness,
awful.
the wired and tired. There are so many symptoms on that long list. So once you start being aware of that and you understand that, you can say, is my blood sugar going bonkers? Okay. Either you take breathing session and wait for dinner if you can. If you feel that you're exploding, but have some food,
Yes. Beautiful.
craving will disappear.
Right. Yeah, they come in waves. It feels like it'll
Yes,
never stop, but just
yes,
hearing someone else say, "Oh no, it will pass." If you can,
yes.
yeah, if you can
This will
occupy your
pass.
mind, buy your prefrontal cortex a little bit of time to kick in.
You could have a warm bone broth with a little bit of ghee in that
Yeah.
takes the edge off right away. So there are so many tools you can use to help your body and brain to calm down until it has stabilized. It's
Mhm.
not stable in the beginning.
No.
It's woo, 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 woo.
Yes.
God knows. Yeah.
Okay. I took down some notes of things. Hopefully, other people are taking notes too. First, I love it. Change your food. You can't expect anybody to recover while constantly giving
No,
themselves
no, no,
the,
no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no,
Yep.
no, no. That's number one, period. It's
Yeah.
not negotiable.
Right. Yep. The breath work. I do a lot of alternate nostril
Oh,
breathing.
yeah, you can do that too. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Sleep, whether it's okay, I love the positive turn instead of I'm such a bad sleeper. What can I do to improve my sleep? I like how
yes.
you
Even if
phrased
it
that.
is 5 minutes.
Hmm. Yeah. giving yourself a little longer to sleep. For me, mouth taping changed my sleep dramatically. And I wear an eye cover, so it's perfectly dark.
Yes.
The physical
Absolutely.
activity throughout the day, whether it's long, slow distances, which is I am a walker. Bitten. I love to walk. I walk under the trees with at least one of my children and my dog almost every single day. It has been powerful for me, not
I love
just
it.
with my size, but like you say, getting my brain to calm where I don't even
Yes.
crave massive
Yes.
volumes
Yes.
of meat now. Like I can just eat a nice, normal, appropriate amount of food.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
When it comes
Yeah.
to our leptin, our satiety hormone, those omega-3s,
Oh,
whether you're getting it from fish oil or actual
yeah.
fish, I eat a lot of sardines. I love sardines.
Oh, I
Yeah.
have the best supplier of sardines here in Sweden in olive oil from Portugal.
Oh, lovely. If somebody doesn't know of a good provider of fish oil, eat some fish, just really good fish, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the problem is that so many people have destroyed their taste buds with junk food that they
Mm.
think fish tastes bad, at least in the beginning. But
Mhm.
usually people will include it later.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't used to like fish at all unless it was battered and dipped in all kinds of, tartar sauce and
Wrapped in bacon.
oh, yeah, well that's still pretty amazing. Yeah. But now salmon just tastes so sweet and good to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
taste change.
I know
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
You said to tell someone while it's happening what red dog or lizard brain is saying. I love that.
Gossip on the red dog.
I love that tip. To tell it come back tomorrow,
Yeah.
to commit to a certain period of time that you feel is reasonable for you. It might be the whole day, it might be a week, it might be the next meal, but
Yes.
stick to it no
Yes.
matter what. To
Right.
fold a piece of paper in half and then with your hand, not just type, 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 because I'm with you, so much more effective.
Brain. Yeah.
To write down exactly the phrases that you're hearing. And then if you're not sure, is this really my addiction or is this me speaking? Ask somebody else. They'll know right away. That's a great
Call them and tell them this is what she says. Ha ha.
Yeah, it's good.
That's
So
a
good.
really nasty, clever red dog thought.
Oh, they're so deceptive. And
Yeah.
then you said for our own bodies to continue to focus on the
Yes.
function of it, and not just what other people think of it, what it looks like compared to a magazine, what it weighs. How does it work? How does it feel? How does my body move?
Start with thanking your stomach that it has helped you survive, even if you put so much junk in there.
Isn't
Is
that
it
a wonder? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yes. I love you. This was such a fun conversation. You're so animated, but also so knowledgeable. Thank you for your years of service, decades of service to helping other people become free. And it's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being with you. I'm grateful
Thank
to
you.
share with all these people, and to all of you out there. You're wonderful people. Keep moving one foot in front of the other.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bitten. See you
Thank
next
you.
time. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye-bye.